we were looking at the different non-dimensional numbers for the turbo machines. So moving ahead, I told that I'll be showing you some table with the numbers and how the non-dimensional numbers, that's like a specific speed, can be used as a specification in choosing either a turbine or a compressor or a pump. Okay, I have a table here. So this table, what I'm showing, this is for both non-dimensional one as well as for the dimensional one. Now let us take, for example, I do have a power absorbing turbo machine. It can be a compressor or it can be a fan or it can be a pump, whatever it may be. So already we have derived the formula. This formula is actually, so n root q by g h to the power of 3 by 4. So this is the formula what we have actually, which we already derived. Now, if you look at it, so suppose my number is, suppose if I calculate from this particular formula, okay, from this formula if I calculate and get a number around 0.2 to 1.24 to 1.8 or 1.8 or 4, 13, so I'll get different numbers. Now, depending upon these numbers, what will happen? If you go a little down, you can see that I have written some kind of a how the blade dimensions or the blade shape varies. Look at this. If this number is less, that means if the number is less, that is maybe 12 or 10 or 5 or zero point 0.5, whatever it may be. I shown for one particular thing for a turbine, but the same rule can be applied for even your compressor, whatever it may be. Lower the number, the blade shape will be radial. And if it is higher the number, the flow will be, or the blade shape will be axial. So in between, I have what is called as your mixed kind of flows. So okay, what is radial actually? Radial means, if suppose if this is my axis of rotation, look at this. This is my axis of rotation. So lower the specific speed, the flow will be exactly perpendicular to it. Fine. Higher, that means I'll be working under lower head. If you look at the formula n root q by h to power g h to power of 3 by 4 or n root p by h to power of 5 by 4, whether it's a compressor or a pump. So if I'm trying to use my specific turbo machine for lower head, what is lower head means? I have small quantity of water. I have small quantity of head in terms of pressure, but I may be having large discharge. See, that Q can be more, but the head available, pressure head available will be small. So under these conditions, the type of a turbo machine I chose is a radial one. Now, if I move to a condition where the pressure head available is very large, maybe somewhere around 300 meters, 200 meters, maybe 350 meters, something like that. If that is the case, even though quantity of water, the discharge may be small, but the type of turbo machines preferred will be an axial kind of a thing. So anything in between that, so we call it as a modern Francis turbines, all those things actually, where we have a transition from radial to axial. So in between that, so if this particular, whatever this particular thing I'm showing this is how things will work. Okay, that means from a lower specific speed to a higher specific speed, the type of the blade will be radial at the lower specific speed and it will be completely axial at the higher specific speed with the transitions varying depending upon the specific speed. Now, we'll come back to these numbers. Okay. Now, the specific speed is low, what I told. So, what type of centrifugal pump? The centrifugal pump is something it's also called as radial flow machines. It can be a compressor or it can be a pump. Okay. Now, if it is a completely higher value of specific speed, I do have an axial flow machine. So in between, I do have maybe a little bit mixed flow. They're all almost mixed flow. Then see, these are my maybe a little bit. They're all. I can clearly tell that. Say, depending upon the quantity of the discharge I'm trying to handle, the flow or the type of blade can vary from radial to axial. Okay. Now, when you come to turbine, this is the formula what I use actually. n root P by rho divided by GH to power of 5 by 4. This is the formula what we have already got by eliminating the independent of the diameter, by making we took the power coefficient and the head coefficient and we arrived at the formula. Now, if this number is very, very low, I will go with what is called as a tangential kind of a flow, which is completely, it's not axial, it's a completely tangential kind of a flow. That means it works on kinetic energy. If it is, the number is very high. So as a design parameter, if you look at it, I'm going to look at what is called as a turbine, which are axial. It can be a steam turbine or it can be a gas turbine. So in between I can choose the turbines depending upon whatever it may be. So even if your Kaplan and propeller both are axial, and if the numbers are in between, something around 0.6 or 0.7 and all, then I'll go with a kind of a Francis turbine, which is completely what is called as your maybe what we call this kind of turbines. Actually, they are called as maybe a little bit radial as well as the small quantity of axial. So they are almost maximum mixed flow. But even there also we can see a little bit of radial. But if as the numbers keeps increasing, as the number slowly keeps increasing, the flow will become more and more axial. Okay. Now, the same rule can be applied if I move from non-dimensional numbers to dimensional numbers. The only thing is the quantity. I'll be ending with a unit here. So it is either revolutions per minute or revolutions per second, whatever it may be. So here also say from a radial to an axial. Here also from a radial to axial. So in between I have all the an axial, or it will be a mix of radial and axial flow conditions. So this table, what I'm showing, this table clearly indicates or shows you what type of turbo machines I'll be choosing. Okay, and this turbo machines, what are we are looking at now? This turbo machines, so based on specific speed or based on your maybe other dimensional quantity, head coefficient or discharge coefficient or your power coefficient, I can do some kind of analysis. What is called as model studies. Now, before we get into so this is about the theory part of your first part of the unit one. Still, we have the Euler equation. Let's look at some kind of a numericals. So already I told that I want to upload some tutorial. Tutorial maybe around 15-20 problems I'll upload. It's still there, but by end of the day or by tomorrow morning I'll try to upload. Here, what type of problems you may get? You may get some kind of a numericals where you will be asked to calculate the efficiency of a given turbo machines, or you may be asked to do some kind of a model studies where a particular compressor or a pump or a turbine is given. One will be a prototype, another one is a some kind of a model. So based on the dimensions, you have to arrive at whether this you have to do some kind of a comparison based on kinematic study, based on some velocity, based on some dimension, based on the discharge, where the power developed, and you should able to come up with some numbers and try to analyze this particular, whether this whatever the design is can be taken further, or whatever the model, whatever the parameters given that fit in or that can give the values of that particular machine. So that's how you people can look into that. Now, so there is some numerical, something like this. A flow rate of 3 meter cube per second, that is discharge. A flow rate of 3 meter cube per second of water is available at a height of 110 meter at a project site. Due to losses in the supply line, the head available at the inlet to the powerhouse is estimated to be only 101 meters of water. The leakage losses in the powerhouse are negligible. The mechanical losses account for around 150 kilowatts. Frictional losses in the rotor blades may be taken as around 250 kilowatts. The exit velocity of the water from the turbine is around 4.5 meters per second. Calculate the hydraulic, mechanical, and overall efficiency of the plant. The specific rate of water can be taken as 9810, or you can just take the density and multiply it by 9.81. Let us try to solve this problem. Okay. Solution. Let us write what is given. So that we call it as data. So your Q is equal to 3 meter cube per second, and your head available is 101 meters. We call it as mechanical losses, which is around 150 kilowatts. Fine. Then we have the hydraulic losses, which is hydraulic losses, which is around 250 kilowatts. Then see what is happening. The fluid is exiting the velocity. It goes out with some kind of a velocity that we call it as V2. The exit velocity is around 4.5 meters per second, and maybe the density we call it as gamma or omega, which is 9810 Newton per meter cube. This is what they are given. See, usually when you have such things, we try to calculate the available power with the fluid. Available power with the fluid. How this is calculated? Let's look at, say for example, I do have a dam. See, I have constructed a dam like this, and I am storing water here. Okay, this is having certain head. Okay, this is having certain head, and I will allow the fluid to flow with some discharge Q. So the available power usually is calculated based on its specific weight, that is omega Q and H. Okay, so omega QH is what is well available. So that is the energy available or the power available with your, when I try to store it. So that is the available power. So if I try to calculate it, this is 9810, and your discharge is 3, and your H is 101. So if I put into my calculator, I am getting around 2972.4 kilowatts. Okay, so this is the power available. Okay, this is the power available. Let me call this PA, and this is not a net C. What will be the net power actually? Net power is nothing but power minus your losses. See what I told actually. See, maybe when I was defining something, I told that I have certain amount of energy. So this is the energy available with the fluid. Energy available. Okay. Then I do have what is called as losses. Okay. I do have what is called as losses. So these are your hydraulic losses. Okay. Here comes my hydraulic losses. So what is the power available here? This is my net power. Fine. So what are the losses they given? So they have quantified it to be around 250 kilowatts. So I can write net power available. Let me call it as P net is equal to power available minus hydraulic losses, which is 2972.4 minus 250. So which is 2722.4 kilowatts. So this is the power available. Now what I have now actually, I do have the mechanical losses. Look at this. This is my mechanical losses. So after that mechanical losses, what I have actually, I do have the rotor power or whatever it may be, rotor power or shaft power, whatever it may be. This is what I have the rotor power. You have the rotor power. So I can write it as the rotor power. Let me call it as P rotor, which is equal to P net minus your your losses. What type of losses it is actually? This is your all or your other type of losses. See, here I have the shaft power. Look at this. Here, right, this is a shaft power. This is your shaft power. That's mechanical losses. So here what I have is actually I do have some kind of losses due to exit. See here in this particular thing is hydraulic losses. Then here itself have, see, exit losses will come. Yeah, then the mechanical losses, exit losses will come. So that means your exit losses due to kinetic energy. So what does it actually, what does it tell actually? It means that your net power, which is 2722.4 minus what is this actually? It is V2 square by 2G. So this is your losses. This is actually P net minus your kinetic energy, because ideally speaking this number should be 0, what I told, because I have to completely convert your kinetic energy. So this is actually V2 square. So your that particular thing is V2 square by 2G. But now, so this is your energy. This is in terms of energy. See, this is in terms of energy. So I need to multiply this by omega cube. See, this is my energy. That is energy head, or this is my energy head, or that is my kinetic head. Energy head, or I call it as kinetic head. This head I need to connect it to power. So you have to head the multiplied by omega into that particular Q. I have to do that. So what is the Q actually? That Q is what I am trying to lose. That is around 3 meter cube per second. Okay. Now if I try to put that, what is it actually? This number will be 9810 into your 3 into your exit velocity is 4.5 square by 2 into 9.81. If I do that, I'll be getting my rotor power, which is 2692.05 kilowatts. So this is my rotor power. See, you have your hydraulic losses, then exit losses, then your net power minus your exit losses. You will be getting your rotor power. Then if you lose your mechanical, consider my mechanical losses. You have your shaft power. Okay, you have your shaft power. Yeah.
Sir, can you once again say why did we use that Q and W term there after V
No,
square?
that is to convert. See, this is, see, V square by P. See, what is kinetic head? See, kinetic energy is nothing but V square by 2. Fine. Now, if I put the G, this becomes kinetic head. Okay. V square by 2G, it's actually, this is the kinetic head. Then, see, this is power. P net is power in kilowatts, but this is in meters.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, this is powers in meters actually. So this is kinetic head actually. So I need to convert that kinetic head to power. So multiplying by omega into Q. That's why.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, fine. Now once I have this, actually I got 2692. Now I need to find what is the shaft power. So shaft power E shaft. Okay, your shaft power is equal to your rotor power minus your mechanical losses. So your rotor power is 2692.05 minus your mechanical losses is around 150 kilowatts is given in numerical. So this will be 2542.05 kilowatts is my shaft power. Okay. Now I got all my things. Okay, I got all the things. I need to find my hydraulic efficiency, mechanical efficiency, and overall efficiency. Let's find one by one. The first thing is hydraulic efficiency. What is your hydraulic efficiency? This is your rotor power divided by available power at the fluid. That means if you come over here, if I call this as 1, I am calling this as 2, I am calling this as 3. See this net power and rotor power, all those things in between, they're all with respect to fluid flow. Okay, so rotor power divided by energy available with your available power is your hydraulic efficiency. Then what is your mechanical efficiency? Shaft power divided by rotor power is my mechanical efficiency. What is your overall efficiency? Shaft power divided by available power is your overall efficiency. Okay, that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, hydraulic efficiency is rotor power, which is 2692.05 divided by available power is 2972.4. If I do calculate, I am getting around 90.56%. This is my hydraulic efficiency. Now the second one, mechanical efficiency. What is it actually? It is the ratio of the shaft power to your rotor power. Okay, so if I try to look at this, so what is your shaft power? 2542.05 divided by 2692.05. If I try to take it, I am getting around 94.4%. This is my mechanical efficiency. Then what is my overall efficiency? The overall efficiency is nothing but it is the ratio of your shaft power, which is at the exit, to the available power with the fluid. Okay, so this is nothing but your shaft power is 2542.05 divided by it is 2972.04. 2902.4, sorry, 0.4. So which is equal to, I am getting around 85.5%. If you look at it, the overall efficiency is around less than your hydraulic efficiency or your mechanical efficiency. And this is how it is actually. Always your overall efficiency is always less than your any other efficiencies. See the same problem I can tell, say for example, your fluid loss is this much, and I may ask you to find the volumetric efficiency also. Say your 3 meter cube per second is the water, the fluid that is flowing in, and the losses, the fluid loss will be around 0.0 or 0.1 meter per second. What will be your volumetric efficiency? 3 minus 0.1 divided by 3. So 2.9 divided by 3 will give your volumetric efficiency. So I can give different parameters, ask you to calculate. What exactly these parameters are? These parameters speak of so all the terms associated with calculating your efficiency.
Sir, can you go to that rotor power, sir, the kinetic head and
okay, fine.
omega? Sir, here when you substitute the values, we're getting this one as negative, sir.
Which
sir,
one?
I guess it is 9.81, sir. If you substitute 9.81, we're getting the value as 2692.
Yes, 9.81 only.
Yes, sir. Like you wrote 9810. Sir.
Which one? Which one? 9810.
So V square, no, not V square, sir. That omega.
Omega is
Omega, sir.
9810. 9810.
No, sir. If
But
you're getting negative values,
Right? 9810 is omega, no?
like you have to substitute
Omega QH.
9.81, sir. If I substitute 9.81, we're getting it as 2692.0.
No, no, don't substitute 9.81. It is 9810.
Then we're
It is
getting
omega
negative,
value.
then we're getting negative value.
No, omega into Q into H actually. That is the head. So omega into, see, you have your, see, this is the kinetic head actually. So kinetic head into your omega into Q. It is not 9.81. See,
Yes,
this
sir.
is already in kilowatts. You will be getting in watts. That you have to divide it. See, this one, you if you want to get it in kilowatts, you have to divide it by 1000. You got it? See, this is already, this number is already in kilowatts. See, look at this. This is number is already in kilowatts. The P available, this is already in kilowatts. Are you getting? 9810 into 3 into 4.5 square divided by 1000 into 2 into 9.81. You have to do that because if you divide it by 1000, you will get it in kilowatts. Hello?
Yes, sir. Fine.
Yeah, I think
yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got it.
yeah, you have to
Yes.
divide it by 1000. I think I forgot to put that 1000. That's it. Otherwise, it's fine.
Yes, sir.
Huh? Okay, fine. So we'll try to look into some numericals on your model studies. Okay, you already have solved actually. Let's look at this one numerical. A gas reservoir has a head of 40 meters and the channel leaving from the reservoir permit a flow rate of 34 meter cube per second. If the rotational speed of the rotor is 150 rpm, determine dimensionless speed of the turbine. Okay. Now look at this particular thing. What is more important here? The most important thing is the head available, that is H, your Q, and your N. Okay. Now you have a discharge, you have a head available, you have a speed. Okay. I need to calculate the specific speed of it. To calculate the specific speed for a turbine, what is the formula? The formula is N root P by rho divided by GH to the power of 5 by 4. See, here usually what mistake most of them do is actually, so Q is given, they will try to put N root Q by H to the power of 3 by 4. So those non-dimensional numbers are very specifically for your compressor or pump or a fan. But when I'm going for a turbine, I should ensure that my numerator has this power on it. So it should be power. So what should I do? I should calculate the power. See, the head is available is given. So the head available is given as 40 meters. They are given the discharge flowing multiplied by your specific weight. So here, whenever I'm trying to calculate the specific speed with respect to the power producing machines or turbines, I should ensure that I'm going to put the power. Okay. You calculate the power with using the formula which is omega QH. Once you're done, I'm going to end up with the watts. Ensure that you convert your watts to kilowatts. See, I have to ensure this is very, very important. 13.34 into 10 to the power of 3 kilowatts. Okay. Now, when I come back to the power, specific speed, NST is equal to N root P by rho divided by GH to the power of 5 by 4. You have to ensure that this P is in kilowatts. It should not be in watts, it should be in kilowatts. I have to ensure that P is in kilowatts. And this N should be in radians per second. This is for non-dimensional specific speed. N should be in radians per second, your P should be in kilowatts. Now, when I come back here, N is given as speed is in RPM. So I should ensure how to get the value of this particular thing omega in, say, in radians, that is actually speaking, it's omega actually, 2 pi n by 60. But still I'm calling it as n only, but it's actually omega. So what if I want to get it in, that is the name of the angular speed. So if I want to get it actually, just omega is equal to 2 pi n by 60, I'll be getting it. So n radians, or few books they call it as omega, because already I've taken omega as a specific weight. That's why I don't want to use that. I don't want to use that particular same notation. I'm using n radians or n. So what will be the value of the speed? It is in radians. It is 15.7 radians per second. Now substituting. See, substituting all the numbers and getting a number. Now, once you get this number, see, look at this number. I got some number as 0.038. Is it any unit? This is a unitless quantity. This is unitless quantity. 0.0038. I got some number. Now, do you remember that I was telling you that specific speed without unitless, this is one of the parameters to define what type of turbine I'm going to look into it. Now, let's go back to that table. Fine, let's go back to the table what we have. Fine, look at this. 0.038. Fine. Look into this particular thing. I have a number between 0.02 to 0.19. So here the number is 0.038. So I may have to go with a Pelton turbine with a single jet. That's how you will be able to make out, because the head available is 40 meters. For that particular size of the turbine, for that particular small power developed, I have to go with the Pelton type of a turbine. The head available and the discharge, for that particular thing, I may have to go with a Pelton turbine of a single jet. That's how you will be able to. So now suppose that number would have been somewhere around 1.5 or 1.6 or 2, then I would have chosen the propeller turbine of axial type, which is this one. So this is how you will be able to choose the particular that particular specific speed calculation as one of the specification to choose the turbine. Is that clear? Fine. Let us look at one more problem. See, before I get into these two problems, I want to tell you. See, whenever you are trying to do some kind of a model studies, what is model studies actually? I try to do models to compare between a prototype and a model, or one prototype to other prototype, or one model to other model. I'll try to do some comparison and try to come up with some numbers actually. Okay. Now, when I'm dealing with a pump or a compressor or a fan, I'll go with two non-dimensional coefficients. One is the discharge coefficient, other one is the head coefficient. When I'm dealing with a type of a turbine, I'll go with the power coefficient and the head coefficient. So for turbine, it is power and head coefficient, and for compressor or a pump or power absorbing machines, it is discharge and head coefficient. Now let us look at this kind of a problem, which is for a turbine. So as soon as it's a turbine, the two things that come to our mind is actually it's a power coefficient and your head coefficient. This is a problem statement is something like this. A small turbine runs at 600 RPM using water at 0.05 meters per second at a head of 12 meters with an overall efficiency of 87%. The turbine is accepted as a model for developing a prototype to be used in a powerhouse with an available head of 60 meters and a flow rate of 6.6 meter cube per second. The speed selected for the prototype is 300 RPM. Calculate the number of turbines required for the powerhouse. Assume the same efficiency for the prototype. So this is the condition what they. Now what usually we have to write actually, we have to write the data for the model and you have to write the data for the prototype. So let me use suffix m for the model, suffix p for the prototype. So n suffix m is 600 RPM, q suffix m is 0.05 meter cube per second, h suffix m is equal to 12 meters, and efficiency is 80% for both. So n suffix p is 300 RPM, h suffix p is 60 60 meters, Q suffix P is 6.3 meter cube. So this is what I have the data. What I'm supposed to find? I'm supposed to find how many number of turbines required in for the powerhouse. So when I go for a full prototype turbine, how many numbers I need to do it actually? So based on the model or whatever the design studies, I should be able to come up with it. So here I will consider two non-dimensional numbers. I will consider two non-dimensional numbers. One is the head coefficient, other one is your power coefficient. Now let us take the head coefficient. So what is the formula? Already we have seen. It is GH by N square D square. Okay. Now I will equate it for both model as well as for the prototype. GH by N square D square with maybe suffix M, GH by N square D square P. So GG just simply they cancel out. I'm going to substitute all the values. If I substitute all the given values, I will get the ratio of the diameter of the prototype to diameter of the model. Now look at this particular thing. The prototype is 4.4 times bigger than your model. Your prototype is 4.4 times bigger, 4.7 times bigger than your model. So that's one particular thing which came out of your head coefficient. Now, if I want to look into the head coefficient, I should know what is the power. Okay. P divided by rho n cube d to the power of 5 is the power. That's the power coefficient formula. Now, if I try to equate it, P by rho n cube d to the power of 5 for a model, P by rho n cube d to the power of 5 divided by that is for P. If I try to equate it, I should know one of the power I need actually. So if I look at for the model, what is the formula actually? See, the formula is, so this is an efficiency. Efficiency is nothing but your shaft power to your available power. So this is your available power. Okay. What is this actually? Shaft power divided by omega QH. Fine. So therefore, P is equal to your efficiency omega QH. That's how this formula came. Okay. This formula came because of this particular. So I'm trying to take the efficiency. What is it actually? It's a shaft power to available power. This is my overall efficiency. So this is the efficiency they are given as 0.87. Then omega is, see, I'm trying to calculate for a model. I can do the same thing for prototype also. If I know it, I can try and find for the prototype. So here I have all the values for Q is known, H is known for the model. I'm substituting everything. I'm getting the power for the model. Now, if we equate it here, in this particular equating your power coefficient, I can find the power for your prototype. Okay, the power for the prototype is around 1137.67 kilowatts. So this is the power, power for the prototype. But what is the power available for I'm going to say this is the power available with the model. I'm going to use the same formula and try to calculate the power available with the prototype. Okay, which is 3397.7 for 3379 or 3380. So this is the available power. But what is the prototype you are building? You are building a prototype which can give only 1137 kilowatts. Now, how many number of prototypes you need to use to utilize the power available? So what you have to do? Available power divided by your prototype power. So roughly I'm getting around 2 or 3, 2.97. So roughly I can go and I can tell that I need 3 units of your prototypes. So 3 units of prototypes I need to use to utilize this, to utilize the available energy or available power. So that is the thing. See, if you model studies, what we try to do is actually we try to take the non-dimensional numbers. If there is a turbine, I'm going to take the power coefficient and head coefficient and equate it, and whatever is not there, and we'll try to analyze it. So here we look into the ratio of the diameter. See, the prototype of the diameter of the prototype, or the size of the prototype is around 4.5 times, roughly 4.5 times your model. Even though from that, if I try to calculate the power from the power coefficient, I am getting around 1140 kilowatts roughly. But what is the available energy or available power? It's around 3,380 or something. Now available power to your prototype power, what you have built. See, your model is one side, your prototype is on one side. So if I try to look at, so to utilize the complete power which is available, I need 3 prototypes. So that's the meaning of it. Are you getting? Okay, fine. Now let us look at one more problem, which is similar to this thing, but for a pump. See, the previous problem was for a turbine. Now this is for a pump. Now I have an axial flow, the same thing. See, whether I have an axial flow or radial flow doesn't matter. But what you have to look at is whether it's a power absorbing machine or a power producing machine. So when I tell it's a pump, it's a power absorbing machine. An axial flow pump with an impeller rotor diameter of 300 mm handles water at the rate of 162 meter cube per hour, running at 1500 rpm. The energy input is 125 joules per kg, and the total to total efficiency is 0.75. If a geometrically similar pump has a diameter of 200 mm running at 3000 rpm, find the flow rate, the change in total pressure, and the input power. Okay. Now, see, in the previous thing we had a model and a prototype. Here I may be having 2 models of different system. I can call it as model 1 or model 2, or I can call it as 2 prototypes, whatever it may be. So, but there are 2 things are there. So pump 1 and pump 2. So pump 1, if I call it as pump 1, I am trying to write I have all the things actually. So diameter is given, discharge is given, speed is given, efficiency is given, and P1 is given. And if you look at the pump 2, the diameter is given and the speed is given. Now, with this particular thing, what are the things I need to find? I need to find its discharge, I need to find the total pressure change, and I need to find its power. So what are the things which are not there? I need to find it. Now, as I told, when I have the discharge, maybe the pump or maybe power absorbing machines, I will go with the discharge coefficient. So what is the formula? Already we have done from the your model studies or your non-dimensional Buckingham pi theorem. The formula is Q divided by N d cube. Okay. Now I'm going to equate it for pump 1 and pump 2. And I'm going to calculate the missing one. So Q1 is known, N I know, D1, all those things I'm going to substitute, and I'm going to calculate my Q2, which is 96 meter cube per hour. Now, what is my head coefficient? It is GH by N square D square. I'm going to substitute. I'm going to get my head. Look at this. So look at this head. Head is in joules per kg. The head, what I'm going to get here is, it is in joules per kg. You have to be very, very critical, because already we have seen head is in meters. See, head is in terms of energy. The head is in terms of energy. So whenever I have in terms of energy, I have to multiply it by its density to get the corresponding pressure head. Okay. So rho GH or rho, see, this is in joules per kg. I have to see, look at the units. If you want, you can cross check. This is in meters, this is in RPS or whatever, RPM, this is in meters. You can cross check. I'm going to end up with joules per kg. Newton meters divided by kg. This is actually Newton meter per kg. You have to be very careful. That's why I taken this product. Otherwise, most of the problems you may end up with meters also. Sometimes if I try to give this value of H in terms of meters, your H2 also will be in meters. But here, H they are given, see, look at this. H1 they are given in terms of joules per kg, which is 125. I'm getting the H2 in terms of joules per kg. This you have to be a bit careful. Okay. Once I calculate the joules per kg, that H value, then multiplied by its efficiency. See, what is this efficiency? This efficiency is required for us. See, what is this efficiency, total to total efficiency? If you look at it, this is the ratio of your maybe available energy, or what is the energy we are trying to put to energy you are supplying. See, in terms of power absorbing machines, if in terms of supplying machines, you are trying to supply more energy. But see, you are trying to supply more energy, but it will be doing less amount of work in case turbine. But in case of a pump or a compressor, maybe if you look at it, maybe your, let me look at the HS diagram, look at this. So I'll try to explain this. This is your actual compression. Okay. This is your isentropic compression, and this is your, see, 1 to 2 dash is your isentropic, 1 to 2 is your actual. You are actually doing more amount of work. You are supposed to do only this amount of work, this much, but actually you are doing more amount of work in case of a compressor or a pump. So with that, here, what is your efficiency? It is actually your isentropic work to your actual work, your total efficiency. That's why, so I'm trying to do 0.75, that is, I'm trying to do more amount of work. So 0.75 is the efficiency of it. So 0.75 into rho into your head available, I'm going to get in terms of pressure, in terms of Newton per meter square, I can convert it. Suppose if I multiply by G, I would have got in terms of meters. I would have got in terms of meters. So you have to be careful in what unit they've asked. Now the same formula. Okay. Now if I want to calculate the power, see what the formula what we used actually, omega P is equal to omega QH. If the value of H is in meters. If the value of H is in joules per kg, I'm going to use only rho into Q. So both the this formula, you have to be a bit careful. You have to balance, see, you have to balance the units on LHS and RHS. So what is the unit actually? I should get joules per second or Newton meters per second. If that's the formula, once I use that particular formula, I can write rho into Q2 into H2. I'll be getting my power, which is 5.92 kilowatts. So this particular problem why I've taken is actually the value of your H is in joules per kg. The same value I can give in meters also, and the corresponding maybe H or your power and all, you can easily calculate it. Okay. So one last problem we'll look into it before we wind up today's class. See, the quantity of water available for a hydroelectric power station is 260 meter cube per second and a head of 1.73 meters. If the speed of the turbine is to be 50 rpm and the efficiency is 82.5%, find the number of turbines required. Assume your specific speed ns is equal to 760 rpm. So this is a little bit straightforward problem. But see, in this problem, I have given the Q, I know the value of H, I know the value of N, I know the efficiency. What is the formula for the dimensional specific speed? It is N root P by H to the power of 5 by 4. Okay. I am trying to substitute everything here. Look at this. The value of P here, this should be in kilowatts. Whatever I'm going to get, no, because I don't know the value of it. So the value when I try to calculate, this will be in kilowatts. So if I substitute everything, I'm getting the value as kilowatt per turbine. So that is actually, whenever I try to calculate specific speed or anything, it is with respect to a particular device for a single device. So when I try to calculate with respect, see, already you know this formula, available power, omega QH, which is very ideal. Now, when I try to bring in the efficiency, that depends on overall efficiency. That is, I will try to look into energy available to energy available at the shaft, whatever it may be. I try to look in that particular perspective, or hydraulic efficiency. This may be hydraulic efficiency. Okay, your hydraulic efficiency. So, energy available at the rotor to energy that is available with the fluid. So, your efficiency is around 0.82 or 80% or 85% multiplied by omega QH, I'll be getting my available energy. Now, I have around 3640 kilowatts of energy, but I'm able to have a prototype or some kind of a turbine which is producing only 909 kilowatts. Now, what is the number of turbines I need actually? So divide the P available by your P with respect to prototype or a model. I'll be getting roughly around 3.97 or something. I need around 4 turbines. So 4 turbines are required to calculate or to absorb this kind of a power or to generate this kind of power. So these are some numericals with respect to the efficiency